Luke McCaffrey might be the most intriguing prospect in this entire draft class. He went from playing quarterback in Nebraska before essentially restarting his football career at Rice, where he developed into a receiver that dominated the Senior Bowl. The kicker right now is Luke is still pretty undervalued in my opinion. He's projected to be a day 3 pick, and he might be the biggest steal in this entire draft class. McCaffrey has a similar athletic upside to his brother CMC, and if a play caller like Kyle Shanahan can get his hands on Luke, you're going to have to watch out because you have another positionalist McCaffrey coming out of college. I'm not just saying that either. During his time at Rice, you would see Luke line up in the backfield taking handoffs to a similar type of role of Debo, so a team like San Francisco could be looking at Luke as the perfect fit. In addition to Luke's versatility, across his time at Rice, he's been able to continue to improve at a new position, indicating his strong ability to be coached. To truly determine the player Luke McCaffrey is and who he can become in the NFL, I'll dive into his football career up to this point and break down how he can have an impact on future teams. We were first introduced to Luke McCaffrey at Valor Christian High School in Colorado, where he first played wide receiver and defensive back during his first 2 years, while his brother Dylan was quarterback. After Dylan left though, McCaffrey switched over to quarterback during his junior season. During McCaffrey's final year, he amassed 2,202 yards through the air with 21 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and also rushed for 526 yards and 8 touchdowns. During this year, McCaffrey led his team to an undefeated season and capped it off with the state championship. After this strong senior season push, McCaffrey was ranked as a 4-star recruit and primarily viewed as a dual threat quarterback, and he had offers from Nebraska, Colorado, Colorado State, Duke, Michigan, and even UCLA. Of all of these offers, Luke McCaffrey did decide to commit to Nebraska, where he was assured he would be able to play quarterback. From 2019 to 2020 with the Nebraska Cornhuskers, Luke proved to be a much more valuable asset on the ground than the air. He threw 6 interceptions across this period, but ran in 4 touchdowns. After the 2020 season, Luke McCaffrey decided to enter the NCAA transfer portal and committed to Rice, where in 2021 he continued to compete for the starting quarterback job. He started in 3 games this year and had 9 games played. And really, you saw the same issues you saw prop up in Nebraska. He would struggle with his decision making at time, leading to costly turnovers, but he was a phenomenal athlete on the field. And perhaps understanding his struggle to excel at the position at the college level, McCaffrey decided to move over to wide receiver during the spring practices of 2022. And during his very first year at the position, he was able to become the Owls' leading receiver with 58 receptions for 723 yards, 6 touchdowns, despite missing the final 3 games of the season with an ankle injury. Luke also proved deadly on the ground, averaging 12.3 yards a carry and 148 yards over the field. And with this final season out of the way, we have the opportunity to dive a little bit deeper into Luke's film to see what he excels at and what he still needs to improve on. When I'm first looking at Luke McCaffrey, he honestly reminds me so much of Christian McCaffrey, it's hard to get that comp out of my mind. He has a similar 40-yard dash, only running it 0.01 seconds faster, but his 10-yard split is noticeably quick. He runs in 1.52 seconds. That's nearly Deshaun Jackson's time of 1.50 seconds and faster than CMC's time of 1.55 seconds. He's an incredible athlete. In addition to that, Luke had some of the strongest hands I saw across this entire class. He didn't drop any passes that were easy, he made some incredible one-handed grabs. But maybe more impressively is how McCaffrey was willing to go over the middle of the field even when he was having his helmet ripped off. He was one of the most consistent wide receivers over the middle in my opinion. In addition to that, McCaffrey's background as a quarterback gives him another perspective of how to play the position, and I think makes him much more effective. And even though there are a lot of positives to Luke's game, his biggest weakness has to be his experience at the position. For example, at times he struggled getting away from some presses, and I think he can continue to improve getting in and out of his breaks, especially with his 10-yard split of 1.52 seconds. When I look at Luke McCaffrey, I see a player who was really played out of position for his first couple years in college, but now entering the wide receiver position, he looks like a potential candidate to develop into a guy like Puka Nacua. But ultimately, these are just my thoughts on Luke McCaffrey, and I truly believe he's going to develop into one of the biggest steals in this entire draft class. But I'd like to hear your thoughts down below and who you think is going to be the biggest steal here. It would also mean a ton if you liked and subscribed, and as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.